Thank you for waiting, everybody. Took me a moment to get on here, so I appreciate your patience. What a night. I got to chatting to a couple of guys in the American Anchor Baby Discord, and before I knew it, it was like 7 something. And I was like, what? And honestly, the conversation was just weird anyway. You know how it is. Well, yeah, I want to read through more of this book tonight, and I don't know. I don't think we'll finish it, but we'll make another little movement towards the end and see how far we get. Right? Do a good little chunk. What else? I got my Ipsy package today. Anybody else do Ipsy? I haven't opened it yet. I ordered a couple of things on top of the usual thing. Oh, now you're starting with me. So where's my scissors? Oh, here they are. Get this open and see what I got. Because I don't remember. That's the cool thing about Ipsy. Like, by the time you get your package, you've already forgotten what you were getting anyway. Yeah, an unboxing moment. Why not, huh? So the cool thing is they do send you these, they send you your beauty package and in a nice little bag. And these bags are, you can re-gift them, or you can use them as makeup bags, or travel bags, whatever. They're convenient. Although I've been on Ipsy a while, so I have a lot of these bags now. But yeah, let's look at what I got. Okay. Oh, they have this, so they usually tell you what's in there. So let's see. I got some leave-in conditioner, a salicylic acid clay mask. Oh, that'll be nice. A sugar scrub, some blush, and some eyeliner, waterline eyeliner. What are you saying? What? And then I ordered a couple of things. So you get you get what you get what you get, and then you can add on to your order. So this is like a full size eyeliner pencil. What color is it though? I couldn't make it out from the package. It's black. Okay. Yeah, that's what I need. More black eyeliner, right? It's monthly. Yeah, it's a monthly thing. And I'm not being paid to do this. I probably should be, but I'm not a beauty influencer, so. You're not going, no, hell no, you're not going back. I literally just closed the door. The door has been open for ever today. And I just closed it, and now he's going off. Wow, that's a lot of packaging for this little eyeliner. Put this, was it necessary to put it in this big thing? So yeah, I've not used this brand. I got another product from the same brand actually. Okay, so it's just a little, might be nice. I haven't done any black eyeliner, waterline eyeliner in a while, so might be fun to do. What else is in here, y'all? Since I'm in here, I assume this is the clay mask. Okay, I like a good mask. What else? Okay, blush. This is a nice blush. I like kind of these sorts of lightly colored blushes, almost nudes. I think they look pretty fetching, They add color without being too garish. And then yeah, some leave-in conditioner. leave-in conditioner. That'll be nice. Give my hair a little treat. And you need to chill out. I'm putting up with this. I'm putting up with this. I'll send you out. Okay, and then this is the sugar body scrub. Apply a generous amount to dry or damp skin. Buff with circular motions and rinse well. Okay, so it's like an exfoliating scrub. Okay. Sound like my next shower is going to be busy, y'all. Gonna get scrubbed and maybe do a mask first. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just put those back in here. Cool. It's always fun when that order comes in. Okay, and then you know what else I ordered from them on top of it? Because they have like deals on beauty products. So I've been getting the sample sizes of this brand of perfume. They don't have them every month, but I've loved almost every perfume I've gotten from this brand. It's Juliet Has a Gun. And this one is called Ode to Dullness. And these are usually like $3 to get this really nice perfume. And the actual bottles of it are, over $100. So it's nice to sample it and, consider what I might want to get. But yeah, this one I haven't smelled before. What does it say about it? Does it have anything about okay. Okay, so this is a creamy composition of bodian, I'm not familiar, cashmere flower, sandalwood, and tonka bean. An indisputably cozy scent. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I'm going to enjoy that one. Okay, I'll put that in my little beauty bag. And I got some face oil, too. So this is also from the Pixie brand. Just some rose oil. I used to have some rose oil back in the day. And I took it on a plane. I forgot I'd packed it, and it was just over the limit, for liquid. So I had to dump it out. Oh, wow, they've got the dropper separate from the bottle. So, yeah. I like the container it's in. Nice, nourishing face oil. So this will be nice on days when I don't feel like wearing makeup. Usually those days I'll do like extra moisturizing and, stuff. Yeah, some nice beauty products. I don't know though. I canceled Ipsy for a while because I was just like over it, but I don't know. I've had them back again and I don't think I'm going to cancel anytime soon. I've enjoyed getting what I get. So, all right, that was a nice little interlude. Did y'all like my little unboxing, as it were? I guess I should get going in the book, though. And now that I'm looking at so this morning I was doing my eyeliner and I was like, oh, it's not even. And it hadn't bothered me until now. I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, like it's okay, but if I just squint my eyes, maybe no one will notice. Anyone have that problem with doing your eyeliner eyeliner imbalances? Well, anyway. Did I show you guys the picture of Matt here in the book? Let me pull it up. Oh, one of my hairs is in here. Samuel liked it. Thanks, Sam. Samuel's very supportive. What a great guest he is in our chat. So yeah, there's a picture of Matt Osman in here. That's him. I seen him in person when I went to see them live. I was like, that's Matt. And I waved at him, but he did not wave back at me. But yeah, it says, Matt Osman is a musician, songwriter, bassist, and founding member of the British band Suede, as well as a composer for film and television. His writing about art and travel has appeared in The Guardian, The Independent, and The Observer, and more. He is the author of the novel The Ruins, and he lives in the UK. Well, dang. That's our author, y'all. I just realized, I hadn't really read that. Very, very simple autobiography, or not autobiography, but okay. So we're on chapter 36 here of The Ghost Theater. Valentine saw it first. Sir, he pointed upstream, where dots of light rose from the riverbank. A wave from the Jagger halted the oarsmen. Archers ready. The snick and snap of preparation as the boat inched onward. The lights rose at different paces on a different path, as if the remnants of a dead fire were being stirred. Up and revolving and nearing the boat, an ember fell and fizzled on the deck. Closer now, the nearest ones were almost overhead, and Shay struggled to make them out. Were they paper birds? Scraps of paper folded into the shape of a crane and then set alight? As they burned, they rose, and as they rose, they extinguished, and as they extinguished, they fell. The papers dying smoldering on the water or swept away on hidden thermals. A few dropped, exhausted, on the deck. Charred white paper birds with black writing on them. The Jagger was up on his feet. Their messages for the girl. Get them and blindfold her. Men leapt to grab the burning paper from the sky, and they crumpled whatever scraps had made it onto the boat into pockets and swept more off the side. Shay jammed her elbows against the back of the cage and her heels hard against the door. Valentine struggled with the lock as burning paper fell all around them. White birds, black writing, bright lines of flame. Get her fucking blindfold on. Pardon my language, y'all. It's what is written. I mean, people be swearing. I almost tied my hair back before coming on. I'm kind of like regretting it. Well, anyway. Shay kicked out with all her might, but he grabbed her ankles and pulled. The bars drove splinters into her hands as she hung on tight. The cage shuddered and cut deep white gauges into the wood of the deck. As the Jagger lifted her and turned her around, she hung, face down, above a torn paper bird fluttering in a puddle. It bore a square of letters. A-R-T, A-P-O, E-L-C. What the hell did that mean? Shay's hand slipped, and in moments she was tied and blindfolded. A-R-T, A-P-O, E-L-C. She had no idea of the message's meaning, but the commoners wouldn't know that. She rolled on the ground and howled into her gag. But while she thrashed and foamed, under the surface her mind was working methodically. A-R-T, A-P-O, E-L-C. Dang. Okay, that was chapter 36. The next day, 4 guards ringed. The next day, 4 guards ringed Shay's cage, but that only served to make the crew more fearful. When they removed her gag for a meal, she fell to her knees and cried up to the heavens, E-L-C, A-P-O, A-R-T, I'm waiting. Or maybe she said elk, apo, art, I'm waiting. She told everyone within earshot that 3 bird gods were on their way, pitiless, all-seeing gods with silver beaks and talons of flame. The Jagger barely slept. He stalked the convoy 10 times a day, convinced that he saw movement on the banks. Bowmen patrolled every barge. Fire at will, he yelled. And when the lieutenant asked him what they were firing at, he said, everything. volley after volley in great hissing arcs, left and right, fore and aft. Up into the sky, a quarter hour of wordless work until the bowmans dripped with sweat. And then the jagger slumped and said, "Enough, we move on." Without performances, Cockaigne would be bankrupt in days. So they risked a stop on the Scarborough cliff tops. There was much quiet discussion over whether it was safe to let Shea perform, but the size of the crowd forced their hand. People from all over the Northeast were coming to see her, and the commoners couldn't afford refunds. Shea felt the world revolve her way. If the country folk knew she was coming, then the Blackfriars boys would too. Maybe the Black Swifts as well. Hi to Maina and Nick, or not Nick, Chris, who's asking if Nick is in chat. He didn't say the book is gay, Maina. Only you have said that. Zenny has called it liberal and degenerate. Thanks, Chris. Look at how good Chris is modding tonight. Chris, the modding with the modding magic. No, hell no. You're not getting no. No, hell no. What you talking about? We was cuddling just a minute ago. Okay, it was more than a minute, but still, we was cuddling. You want more cuddles? You're not going to get no more cuddles right now. You're not getting no more food. You're not going outside. You're not getting no cuddles. What a life. Don't look at me angrily. He looked at me angrily. Why are you looking at me angrily? Oh, damn. Okay, fine. Give me a second, y'all. Let me adjust things here. Little Lord. Ugh. Let me see my couch back there. He doesn't pee in my shoes. That's not how he gets back at me. He has other more nefarious ways of getting back at his mama. All right, come on. You know you want it. Get up here. Come on. We ain't got all night. Come on. What was you saying? You were demanding to be up. Come on. Don't play with me. Come on. I mean, you acting like you don't want to be in my lap all of a sudden. You lying. That's right. That's what I thought. Oh, hey. Thank you, Samuel. Samuel with the support for Nero. Isn't he sweet? My kitty. Yeah, he getting all adjusted. Dang, why won't my camera stay put? Okay, yes. Who's a good kitty? Hi, Galahad. Good to see you. I love you. You love me back? Yeah, I'm lucky. Am I lucky? I'm so lucky. Okay. All right, y'all. But the show must go on. Oh, thank you, Chris. So we've got Samuel with the super sticker. Cheers. And Chris with the super sticker. I'm assuming Samuel gave the kitty one. I don't know which one Chris gave, so let me pull up the chat on my phone just to be sure. Hey, baby, come on, stop fussing. Why you fussing? You so fussy. I never met a cat so fussy my whole life. You're so fussy. Don't be kissing on me. Lay your little butt down. Get comfy, because that's what you're going to get. Oh, look. Lay your little... Oh, fist bump. Thank you, hon. Much appreciated. How many more chapters? Not many. We're going to finish this book this week. I don't know exactly, but I think we'll do this stream and then another one, and we should probably be done with the book then. Okay, so let's see. That evening, guards carried her, hands tied, to the main tent. It held hundreds. The canvas walls billowed in the North Sea gales, and candle flames were blown near horizontal. It felt apocalyptic. It felt right. When they finally untied her, Shay was all business. Roll the carpets up behind me. It's a bare boards kind of night. By now the commoners knew to listen to her about stagecraft. They rolled the carpets into columns behind her and ringed the cage with candles. She sat, careless in her cage, sharpening her nails. The crowd surged in their hundreds, bringing a saltwater chill along with them. They ran for the front seats and watched her like hawks on a rabbit. As the chatter subsided, an unseen voice called out from the throng, "Sharp eyes and blunt knives, Sparrow." She searched the crowd. Who said that? It had been a male voice, nearby. She kept her voice light. "Who said that, please?" And again the voice called out, a little further back in the tent this time. "Sharp eyes, blunt knives." Fist bumping a cool girl or not? I mean, it can be awkward sometimes. Why are you insulting my friend, Mena? That's my friend. I don't appreciate that. And no, he didn't have anything to do with this book. Rude. That's my friend. That was a guest on my channel and a friend of mine. The Jagger whispered in an underling's ear, and the lad squeezed his way into the crowd. Shay feigned indifference, but she knew that phrase meant showtime. It would happen tonight. No preamble. A person here has lost someone. Almost every hand rose. Shay would use the first half of the show to make the crowd trust her so they would know to fear her later on. Pure instinct drove the performance. She wept with people and upbraided them. She sang and recited and whispered and cawed. And once she had given them wonders enough that they gazed up at her like children in a classroom, it was time for that same old song. She started up and her heart fluttered to hear 100 voices singing along. Birds that glow as bright as moons, with claws to hold and beaks to blind. Birds that shine above the gloom and save us from the ties that bind. We're birds at death and birds by birth. Our feet will ne'er touch the sullen earth. Surely it was none such. Who else had such a sense of theater? The very last word of her song was buried under 3 rounded thumps that came from the rear of the tent. Smoke came on their heels, and soon it billowed until the entrance was obscured. Shay tasted gunpowder on her tongue. Womp, womp, came another round, and a voice yelled, "The tent is ablaze. They've come." Panic, immediate and total. 100 chairs knocked over. 100 terrified voices. A man shouting, "The birds are at the entrance. Escape across the stage." Was it the same voice as before? Shay thought so. In an instant, she was caught up in a rush of bodies, hands and knees and elbows, sharp in the smoke. Hey, what you doing? Don't you be attacking me. You're the one who wanted to get on my lap and get petted, but then I petted you too much and now you're going crazy. You just can't be pleased. Okay, you want to get kicked off of me? That's what you want? No, I ain't putting up with this. Why should I be treated thusly? I'm trying to get in my story. You're being a brat. Digging your claws in and biting me. Who bites his mama so bad? Who bites his mama? What kind of kitty just bites his mama and kicks her, bites her and kicks her and scratches. What kind of kitty does that? My kitty. Oh, you chilling out now? Or are you still mad? You chilling out now? Or are you still mad? You kind of still want to bite me, but you also want to kiss me? Oh, he's kissing me now. Isn't that nice? He's so good kitty. Who's so good kitty? What if I scratch you right there? That good? That feel good? Or is that too much? No, too much? You can't take the scratch? What if I scratch you right there? What if I scratch you behind the ears? Oh, so good. Okay. Enough, darling. Get off of me. Be gone, you vile creature. Go play by yourself. No. Oh, look at the kitty. He's crazy. Get off of me. Come on. You don't know if you want to cuddle or fight. Come on. Go play. Thank you. Y'all. Oh, my kitty. I love my kitty, but dang, man. He's extra sometimes. We've had fun today. We've had a fun day together. He's had a lot of fun today. So don't feel bad for him. Okay. So where were we? Okay. Panic, immediate and total. 100 chairs knocked over, 100 terrified voices. A man shouting, "The birds are at the entrance. Escape across the stage." Was it the same voice as before? Shay thought so. In an instant, she was caught up in a rush of bodies, hands and knees and elbows, sharp in the smoke. She threw herself onto a man's back to look for the way out and caught sight of the Jagger being driven back by the weight of numbers. She scrambled left through a tumult of legs and prayed she could keep upright. If she fell, she doubted she'd ever get up again. She cut across the crowd and clambered up onto the far corner of the stage where smoke hung in drifting curtains. 3 steps into the murk and she couldn't see another soul. The rolled up carpets lay across one another and she found the loosest one and squeezed herself into the gap at its center. She was cocooned within the folds and held her nose against the tickle of fiber as running feet echoed away. She got out with the crowd, closed the main gates, and checked everyone who leaves. The Jagger sounded firm, but Shay fancied she heard a hint of fear too. She tamped down a cough and kept as quiet as she could. If this wasn't what the paper birds had meant, then she was hiding away at the very time she might have escaped. Art, Oppo, Elk, Cleopatra in reverse. Oh, it is. It's Cleopatra in reverse. ARTAPOELC. Panic drained from the room and the canvas slapped like flags. She kept very still and very quiet as outside people milled this way and that. The rain stopped, but the crowds didn't. Then, without warning, the carpet was hoisted up and something dug into her back. A voice said, "Shay?" Mouthful of dry fabric. "Listen, they're guarding the exits, so I'm going to load you into the props cart and I'll be back for you tonight." She couldn't move and could barely talk. The voice was muffled. "None such?" "Quiet now, we're nearly outside." Every step drove his bony shoulder into her. She tried to follow where they were going, but in moments she was disoriented. Suddenly the carpet was flung down. The voice was more confident now. "Get this on the cart with the rest." A voice, querulous, said something. "The sparrow's flown. They say she has an army of birds blinding anyone who follows her." Once he'd left, there was a blast of cold air and the jolt of cartwheels on rutted ground. Drivers called out to one another. They were boisterous until the gate and quiet after. Shay stretched out and tried to make herself comfortable inside the rug. They drove downhill for a long while and then onto a country path that gummed the wheels and slowed them to a crawl. The cartmen whispered conspiratorially to each other, but Shay couldn't pick out a word. She pricked herself in the legs with her nails. If she slept, she might snore. The hole at the end of the rolled-up carpet was a gray disk that turned black as night fell. Hours of riding, the horses slowing, voices dying away. They stopped some time before dawn, and her cart was maneuvered back and forth. She guessed they were forming into a circle. She'd spent many a night in commoner camps. There would be guards and patrols, but the good news was that she couldn't hear any dogs. Her carpet was lifted from both ends and thrown somewhere hard, and it took all of her effort not to cry out in pain. She's hiding in the carpets like Cleopatra does. Remember when she met Julius Caesar, how she hid in the carpet and was rolled out in private to meet him? I wonder if we're going to have we're going to have Shay's Cleopatra scene. It's very similar. I always wondered that, like, how did they hide her in the carpet, and how did she unfurl herself? And is it fact or is it legend? What do you mean we're already at war with China? What are you talking about, Galahad? When it had quieted down, she wormed herself along the carpet and stuck her head out at the end. She was in a store tent piled high with props. A suit of armor stood sentry, and for a second she froze. She wished she could light a torch, but commoners would be sleeping only feet away. Instead, she looked for a costume trunk. Her feathered robe and shaved head would be instantly recognizable. She found a chest and rifled through frocks, coats, and loincloths, Pierrot costumes, and flippers before settling down on one of the barmaid outfits. It was low-fronted and far too big for her, but at least she might not be the only one here dressed that way, and the bonnet would cover her hair. As she buckled unfamiliar shoes, there was a noise like a sigh. She ducked behind the trunk and watched the rear of the tent. A black V was drawn across the gray of the canvas like a boat's wake. Someone had slid it from side to side, and a head poked through. Trussell. Oh, it's Trussell. How wonderful. China. You're not going outside again tonight. Don't even ask. It's not going to happen. You think I'm going to let you outside after you've been outside all day? Hell no. And you slipped into the hallway today. What do you think I am? You think I'm some kind of punk? Can you believe it? Can you believe what I have to deal with? My sweet kitty. I don't know. We got troops everywhere, Galahad. I don't know anything about it. She scrambled from her hiding place and was in his arms in moments. She pressed her face into his chest and cried for what she now realized was the first time since she'd been taken. He held her with his hands in her hair, whispering, "Shh, we're nearly there, but we have to move. Take my hand." They stepped out and walked between two unlit tents, the ground springy under their feet. Trussell led them on a zagging path, avoiding even the merest glimmer of light. Only one tent looked to be still fully awake. It glowed from within, and Shay heard low voices. Trussell whispered, "We're on an island, and the bridge is the other side of that tent. There's no other way out." They sidestepped left and around the back of the tent. He stopped her. More voices and the sound of door ties being undone. The party must be breaking up. Wait. He was right. A couple left to a chorus of farewells, and someone threw up noisily only feet in front of them. This is no good, he said. They'll close the bridge in a quarter hour. Two men chatted by the tent's entrance, and their shadows loomed across the grass. Trestle looked ill, tired and scrawny, though his eyes shone. All right, time to test your acting skills. We're lovers and I'm chasing you. He nodded at her. Imagine that you want me to catch you on the other side of the bridge, out of sight of jealous eyes. You see it? She nodded. There are men posted at either end, but all the serious boys are off looking for you. We might get away with it. He pulled the hat down tighter on her head. You could look a little more disheveled, as if we already, started. Shay could see his embarrassment. She tucked her skirt into her hose and tore a line of the cheap stitching down the front. Everything, the fresh air, the clothes, she was free already. Suitably ravished, she asked. Let's do it. Oh dear. Oh no, we need our semiconductor chips. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to make. I'm just going to keep my opinions to myself, okay? I mean, what else can I do? Get back to my little story. Okay, let's see. She took her shoes in her hand and skipped out past the tent. The men turned and reached for swords, so she tried a giggle and kept herself slow. Come back, you little tease. Trestle was doing his Evans voice, rough around the edges, but amused at the world. He moved no more quickly than her, and she shrieked with laughter as he tripped, following her. The men relaxed as he said, Little hellcat, don't you know that it's dangerous to stop a dog mid-hunt? He chased her down a slope, and her fake laughter built into a kind of real hysteria. Wet feet and already out of breath. That black line in the gray would be the river, so she headed that way. At the head of the small bridge, two old men played cards under a meager torch. She came close, thrust out her breasts, and put her finger to her lips. Don't tell him which way I went. She stepped onto a bridge that was little more than 3 planks and let Trestle catch up. The men laughed as the planks bowed under the new weight. She ran on, shoe buckles jangling in her hand, until she came to the mainland. The guard there was younger, though still an old man, and she collapsed, giggling into his arms. Oh, help! He's chasing me. He won't take no for an answer. She pressed against him and made sure her voice had that breathy chuckle that the London whores used. Oh, dear. I'm not a diehard Marxist. What are you talking about, Mia? I don't think it suits the US to be, I don't think it suits us in any sense to be an enemy of China or Russia. So, but I don't think that has anything to do with, my history as a Marxist. She used her booby. She's using her playful She's using her feminine wiles, y'all. Chris acting like he's never heard the word before. Why is the A the letter that you it still says the same word without the A. It sounds the same anyway. Footsteps. Trussell ran and then slowed to a walk. My Hellcat's keen to get off the island, is she? Well, that can be arranged. He came close to the old man. I'll take it from here. Thank you for keeping her warm. There was a moment's hesitation as some pecking order was worked out between them. For a moment, the man kept up his grip. Then he pushed Shay away. Give her one from me, he said. They were nearly gone when the old man stretched out an arm. Why aren't you out chasing the sparrow? I thought only us old boys were left here. None such had been right. The other Blackfriars boys might be able to act, but they couldn't lie. There was a telltale moment before Trussell said something about being ill and faked a quick cough, but even Shay had heard his hesitation. The man said, wait here a second, and wheezed back across the bridge. Shay and Trussell looked at each other and then, without a word, scrambled down the slope towards the water. I have a boat. The incline down the riverbank was knotty with tree roots. Shay stepped high like a show horse, but still caught her toes in loops of root. Mud on her feet, mud on her knees. Trussell thrashed into the undergrowth and then pushed a small rowing boat out into the river. They leapt in together, landing flat on their bellies as behind them lights moved along the bridge. They were close enough to hear shouts of alarm. Trussell slapped his own face. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I could have said I was a messenger. Shay watched the lights move on the bridge. Don't worry, just row. He swiped at the surface with the oars, sending gray wings of water up behind them, and the boat zigzagged across the stream. Shay said, wait. Trussell, stop. Let me do it. My father is a ferryman. She took over, sliding the oars into the water like knives, the work happening beneath the surface, and the boat straightened and sped. Do we have a place to hide? No, I didn't think we'd be chased. We'll need to get off the river, though. They're twice as fast as us. Shay had already made that calculation. The commoners had boats and horsemen, so only guile would thwart them. As she rowed, she heard her father's voice. Whatever runs is prey. She slowed her heartbeat and tried to think like a hunter. An idea. She scanned the riverbank for the right place. No, too open here. Onwards with patience. Twice before they passed places that were almost right, but it was a quarter hour before she saw what she'd been looking for. We get out here. She steered the boat up onto a long sea of silt that was overhung with trees. Trussell started to haul the boat up into the shadows, but she said, no, leave it where it can be seen. Now follow me. She stomped leftwards into the forest, making sure that her footsteps showed in the silt and indicated to Trussell to do the same. Once they were deep enough into the woods that the ground was carpeted with leaves, they cut back to the right. She told him, keep your footsteps light and find a branch that's come down in the storm. One big enough that it'll float even with both of us hanging onto it. No moonlight penetrated this deep. Blacks and grays and everything waterlogged. It took minutes before they could see clearly enough to pick out a suitable branch. But at least plenty were down. She stopped by one the size of a small tree. This'll do. Help me drag it into the water. It was heavy going. The branch snagged and shed leaves like a blood trail. By the time they met the river again, they were both wet with the sweat. Still, they were 50 yards downstream of the boat with no sign that they'd looped back to the river. 1, 2, 3, go! They dragged the branch out into the water until they were up to their necks in it, and then clung on as the current caught them. For minutes they stayed that way, arms draped over the branch, occasionally kicking up spray to speed up or slow down until Shay could breathe again. Geez, this is intense. Hello, Point Fire. He says, shout out to the fringe minority with unacceptable views. Yeah, I love my fringe minorities. Hmm. This is intense. They're holding on to a like tree branch in the river. And what river are they in? Ugh. I mean, God, are they going to get hypothermia? Like, what? This is insane. She slid along the branch until their faces were only inches apart. They looked at each other for a long time before simultaneously they began to laugh. Laughter that grew until the branch rocked so hard that night birds broke for shore, and Shay's face was wet with tears. They didn't talk until they were ashore again, miles downstream, where they lay side by side, soaked and shivering, but finally free, and she let the silence claim them. Once the panic had subsided, she said, Trestle, where are the others? A pause like a feather falling. Trestle turned away and said, They're all gone, Shay. It's just me. It's just Trestle. Suddenly she was a long way from home. For weeks she'd imagined the four of them watching over her like birdsong. They had to go, he said. There were riots in London, and they targeted the foreigners, as always. Alouette's parents are old. You understand, don't you? She didn't answer. And Blank heard of a ship to his island. He's going home. He may already have left if the weather ever clears. How could an absence feel like a living, breathing thing? Shay said. They left with me still in a cage. Not at first. At first, it was all of us. There was something in his voice that worried her. Pity, maybe? But as time went on, his next question was as careful as the first step onto ice. Shay, how long do you think you've been in Cockaigne? Edinburgh, excuse me, Stafford, Leeds, Manchester, Lancaster, Carlisle. So many faces, so many questions. A month or 5 weeks? Something sounded wrong as soon as she said it. She'd been taken in May, she knew that. Trestle rubbed his thumb on the spot on her palm. Shay, it's been 6 months. Suddenly, as if a curtain had been drawn back, she saw the bare trees and the frozen leaves on the ground. Now her final question hung there in the silence, like mistletoe on a tree. She was frightened of the answer. You didn't mention Nonsuch. Where is he? He took his hand away. Not here either. He's in London, I think. We can talk about that later. 6 months. As long as the time she spent with the Blackfriars boys. 6 months bottled and concentrated and soured like vinegar. She shook her head. The fucking countryside. 38. Man. For the first 3 days, as the black acid of the cocaine broth worked its way out of her system, Shay was a wreck. She shivered and sweated and threw up a thin gray bile even before her eyes had opened in the morning. Ugh. By day, Trestle half carried her through the undergrowth, deep in the forest and far from the roads. The ground swung around her as if she were afloat on an ocean. Sometimes the world tipped, and she crawled along a ceiling of clouds with an abyss beneath her. She clung weeping to tree roots until Trestle talked her down. She'd never been scared of the sky before. By nightfall, her trousers were ragged, and Trestle pulled handfuls of thorns from her calves and thighs. It was the fourth morning before the storm in her calmed. The night before, she kept her dinner down for the first time, and she woke to a sky that was returned to its rightful place. Bars of sunlight broke through the roof of their shelter, but they brought to mind her cage. So she dressed in silence and walked barefoot out into the woods. It had been months since no one was watching her, and she strolled at random. Bare trees like the bones of lightning, decorated with clots of rooks, nests. Sparrows did their drop-stitch flight. The birds are gods. No Divana overhead. Their escape had been too well hidden. She squatted to piss under an oak, and there was no sound but her own in these woods that would have looked exactly the same 100 years earlier. She took huge, icy breaths until her chest ached. Trestle was awake when she returned. "Where are we?" she asked. He sat on a tree stump mending his shoes. "Somewhere between Ely and Cambridge, I think. 4 days' ride from London, if we had horses, or if we trusted the roads." Shay shifted around so that she could see his face. "We don't trust the roads?" She hadn't the strength to ask why their route was so convoluted. He laid down his needle. "I don't think so. The Jagger will expect you to head for London, and the Queen's men are looking for you too. Apparently London is awash with stories that you've joined the commoners, and that makes Elizabeth look weak. We spent as much time dodging the Swifts as we did searching for you. We have to assume that everyone on the roads wants you for their own particular cage. This poor girl." Mana, get over yourself. What a whiner. What a whiner. Terri doesn't insult Black people as enough. Get over yourself. Like, seriously. And I don't have any Germanic heritage anyway. So like those people wouldn't be my own anyway. And I don't know what countries you think I've insulted that are white. If you could give me an example of any country I've insulted, I'd be, curious. I can't remember ever getting on here and insulting any country specifically. Or maybe I'll make a joke about it. Like, I make jokes about like what I know. That's most people. And if you want to talk about Australia, I mean, that's different. Y'all are nasty. You know what Australians are like. Nobody wants to come across Australians when they're on vacation, okay? It's just a mess. So, whatever. I'm literally reading a historical novel that takes place in Elizabethan England. I'm not reading like what? This isn't like, I mean, this is a white story. It does have a little bit of like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Diversity. They had a couple of Moors in it, and like some other, I guess blank was foreign too. I don't know. Whatever. But oh yeah, and Alouette was like Flemish. Was she Flemish? Is that it? Is that what they're called? Whatever. They set off perpendicular to the main track and ducked into brambles whenever they heard a noise from the path. It was slow going, but Trussell's hunches were right. After an hour, 4 men in ponytails and waistcoats galloped by a fair lick and soon after 3 carts of soldiers rode the other way. Trussell talked as they went, and that was how Shay learned the story of her kidnap and escape. In broken snatches between stands of trees, he told her how they'd followed rumors of cocaine, days watching for smoke on the horizon, and finally sighting Devana, Alouette making the kites and prepping fire arrows until news of her parents called her home. Trussell had been at cocaine for her last 3 shows, so close at one point that he could have touched her hem. It was midday, though, when the forest was quiet and the road just a rumor off to their right, that Trussell told her the part she'd been waiting to hear. So Nonesuch sold you. He didn't work his way up to the story. He just threw the words over his shoulder as he forded a brook. The night at Cockaigne, when he disappeared for a while, he found that Jagger man and made him a deal. No. It was out before she thought about it, but already some queasy machinery was churning within her. Alouette was suspicious from the start. Those men knew where to wait for us. They had a cage ready for you. Shay remembered the way her kidnappers had lolled, unhurried, on their horses, the smell of tobacco, the fiery arrow like a beacon for them. No, he wouldn't have. Cogs turned inside her. Trussell, they knifed him. You were halfway down the road. I saw his wound. He wouldn't turn to look at her. He swished at the undergrowth with a stick. What did you see, Shay? Just blood. Lamb's blood, I assume. Cow's blood is too thick. The smell of iron and shit and the sound of it dripping. Honestly, if he hadn't faked the stabbing, then I'm not sure we would have suspected him. But you know that Nonesuch has to be the center stage. Something niggled at Alouette. She got him naked a couple of days later, and there wasn't a scratch on him. The words slit home. Got him naked, not saw him naked. Got him naked, not saw him naked. Ooh, ouch, 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 ouch. This hurts. This hurts. Is this true? Nonesuch sold her and faked the stabbing and then tried to have it off with Alouette? The next day, while he was out foraging, I searched his tent. I found those same French coins buried in the ground under his pillow, the half-angels, enough to buy him a real title in London. Iron and shit and the smell of tobacco, the way that men lie in lays. His story was true and impossible at the same time. She spoke. You can't buy and sell people in England. That would mean slavery. But as she said the words, she understood. The Queen's warrant meant that Evans could press gang whomever he wanted, all within the law. The Queen owned Evans, and Evans owned Shay. She wasn't even a slave. She was a chattel, just one more entry on the ledger, next to sets and buildings and furniture and weapons. All the things needed to keep the theater running. The 10 pounds that Evans demanded from Nonesuch wasn't for the ratty costumes and tired scripts after all. It was for her. She tugged on Trussell's belt to stop him walking on. Where is he? London, I hear. We had the coins piled up outside his tent, and we didn't hear him return. He just turned tail. I went after him, but you know he's a better horseman than me. Something was suddenly important. How much? I don't remember. A wing beat's hesitation. Yes, you do. How much did I cost? 100 half-angels, and the formula for Greek fire. He knelt in the undergrowth and emptied out his purse. Coin after coin tumbled into the mud. They shone brassy against the brown. Her price. Is Cecil here? because I am devastated by this. I am devastated. Ugh. She loved him so much, and he just sold her to this god, and she's been performing 6 months, fed like she's just been like that fucker, like, and I was like all like feeling for him when he got stabbed in the stomach. I was like heartbroken. I was like all hopeful, like, oh, he's alive. And then you come to find out, like, this pig. And she's probably the only person in his life that's ever, like, loved him. Like, been totally loyal, been, like, just absolutely, like, ugh, this bastard son of a sin eater, like, ugh. If I get a hold of him. 10 nights in clearings and ditches, falling asleep under silent stars and waking to hair damp with dew, Shay felt like the undergrowth that they struggled through. Emotions caught on her like burrs, and ideas gnarled and doubled back on themselves. Once they stopped in a hollow, far from the road, where she ate so many blackberries that their lips turned blue. And Shay found an odd plant. It was a climber whose seeds had grown out in the open, and the shoots had nothing to cling to. 3 tendrils twisted and coiled around one another until the whole teetering mass stretched towards the sun. Trussell couldn't understand why it made her cry. 10 days in knots, and then sleep in an untangling. She dreamt of her mother combing her hair, and the pain and the pleasure that was mixed in it. None such had betrayed her. He had sold her, taken the money, and let others bear the blame. It was too much to think about. Her keenest emotion was embarrassment. How must she have looked, mooning and chasing and excusing and loving? So many memories took on new aspects, seen through the lens of his betrayal, like something familiar seen through water. His other girls, her name nowhere on the playbills. Blank and Trussell always playing her lovers for the ghost theater. She burned at what others must have seen. And if none such was one problem, then Trussell was another. Oh, Trussell. He loved her, that was plain enough. Had since they met, probably. She tried not to see it, and he was painstakingly, endlessly proper. But still his eyes hung off her. Every night they fell asleep back to back, and every morning they woke curled up like animals in a burrow, wet with sweat and dew, out-breaths hot in each other's mouths. It shouldn't be a burden to be loved, should it? Especially to be loved fiercely by a person who she now realized might be the first real friend she'd ever had. He'd traipsed England after her, and fought and lied and schemed for a chance to see her again. He had slept in ditches and dodged soldiers and never worn a word of complaint. Trussell, her only true friend and her dearest of simps. Shout out to Trussell, the greatest simp of all time. See, Sal, did you hear the bad news? And then from the 10th day, a final desperate burden, Divana. Shay had no idea how the bird had tracked them under the roof of trees. But now every time they broke cover, Divana wheeled above them. The arrow had done some damage. I was wondering about Divana. I wasn't clear if she'd been killed or not from the last reading, so I'm glad to hear that she's still alive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Her silhouette was skew-whiff, and she flew a jagged orbit. Shay ached to tend to that wing, but the first time that she called for the bird, Trestle showed her deep into the undergrowth. He'd never put his hands on her that way before. Shay, you can't. His eyes were frantic. Everyone knows she's yours. You might as well shout your name from the treetops. From then on, Shay pushed them harder towards London, straying ever closer to the road, but with ears tuned to the sound of hoofbeats. Usually that was enough, though. Once they stumbled across a trio of sleeping soldiers where horses ate silently by the roadside. With his finger to his lips, Trestle pointed to something peeking from a saddlebag, a poster. Only the top was visible, but it was enough. 2 wings of hair and a sparrow tattoo. Is Irish Repub fighting? I'm missing most of the chat, y'all. I'm trying to get through this book. Now, okay, whatever, y'all. Do what you gotta do. Get it out on my little story time. Thanks for being in chat. Be sure to like the video. There were more fields closer to London, which meant more dangerous open spaces. At dusk, Divana circled low above them and struggled against the evening breeze. She'd lost much of her glow, and only a few patches of foxfire still showed against her silhouette. She glided lower than Trestle moaned, "Make her stay back. She'll lead them straight to us." But Shay had spent her entire life trying to bring Divana closer. She had no vocabulary for sending her away. By Cambridge, they were making good time. Beaten paths wound through the forest, and they walked a quick 10 miles without seeing a soul. 10 miles closer to the city, and Shay could feel it in her veins somehow. They came across a spot where someone had camped out the night before, and the pair of them sat around a blackened patch of grass as if a fire still burned there. It was quiet. Great tits went after the last of the insects, hanging swaths of invisible bunting from the air. I mean, they must have smelt terrible. Like, honestly, like, I'm imagining this. Imagine you're walking that much in winter or in fall, like May's the 5th month. So no, yeah, you're in, yeah, late fall. Ooh. Cecil, none such, sold her. None such. He sold her and he faked his stabbing. He sold her to that freaking guy. He sold her out, faked his stabbing. Alouette was suspicious, so she tried to seduce him to see him naked so she could see the scar or see the scratch, Irish or pub. I do not envy men in any regard. I would never want to be anything but a woman. Did you just say based none such, Chris? You bastard! Chris? What? You're talking to Maina? Okay. You'd never sell Terry. You would sell me for a hot pocket. I don't trust you and your smooth ways. I'd never sell Terry. You'd sell me out for a Slurpee and a hot pocket at the gas station. I'm so sad. I'm like, what a bastard. She was so in love with him, Cecil, and he betrays her. And now she's like playing it all through her mind, like figuring out he never loved her. I mean, God, I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that where you like put it together that the person you loved never really loved you. But yeah, it's embarrassing. I mean, I don't know, we all have to go through it at some point, but yeah. But I loved None Such too. I loved him along with her, you know. I saw like, I pitied him, but I was also wrapped up in the romance of him and her. And I'm just like, I want to rip his hair out. Anyway, sorry. And then beautiful, like Trussell, like, God, I mean, the fact that Trussell even came to her and he was like, I will save you. Like, I'm just stunned. Stunned. I don't know. It was okay. It was quiet. Great tits went after the last of the insects, hanging swabs of invisible bunting from the air. Rude ass drivers. I hear some like old harpy that sounds probably close to what Maina sounds like. None such Tate. No, don't call him None such Tate. Yeah, he's gonna end up bald like one of the Tate brothers. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the other guy looks like really. He has hair, doesn't he? I don't know what his name is. Ugh. Okay. While Shay dealt hand after hand of the bird tarot. She so happens to have her bird tarot cards. Her bird cards. Man can save no one, says Pinochet's helicopter. Is that true, Point Fire? I'm not surprised. I don't know. I can't with any guy. I just can't. Like he just makes me laugh. I don't know. It's like we're in a real crisis in our culture of masculinity and femininity. And also just like people searching for like answers in like the world and in other people. Like the popularity of these guys and a lot of women too that like because there's so many like femininity gurus out there and you know, sometimes they'll have interesting things to say, but like you can't as an individual listen. You can't find out what you or who you're supposed to be by listening to other people. You know, sometimes people might have good advice for you, but you have to live your own life and just, you know, figure out who the hell you are. Hello, Golden Rule TV. Bye, Golden Rule TV. Oh, man. Menmon worshiper. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, Irish Repub and like Galahad are going at it. Oh, thank you, Golden Rule TV. I appreciate the likes. We're having an interesting night, I have to say. I need to get, okay, give me a moment. This story, I'm just like, I got distracted and I'm like, honestly mad. And like, I'm upset. How dare he? Oh, I hope she like destroys this horrible man. She better get her revenge on none such pathetic little. Mm. My chatters are bickering. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. You jag off. Ha ha ha. What a loser. SOB. Like, oh, Lord. Okay. 10 of Magpies, the Tower. Ooh, does anybody know about tarot? Do we know what the Tower is? 10 of Magpies. Now, I don't know what the magpies represent. Maybe Earth? I think magpies might mean Earth. So that's like completion, home. It can be a homecoming of sorts. But then there's the Tower. So the Tower indicates like destruction that there's no going back from. And then the Hanged Man indicates like a delay or being held back or like, you know, a time of just a time of like where things aren't moving ahead, like things are cooking maybe. So it's interesting. The Ace of Sparrows. So the ace, I don't know what the sparrows represent, but Ace of Sparrows. So that's like a new beginning of some kind. I would hazard that maybe it means like a new idea. King of Magpies. So the King of Magpies would represent like a person who would be a figure of wealth, somebody who has resources that they can utilize. So I don't know. Questions, not answers. I mean, I don't know. I think it says pretty much like it says what it says. That's the thing about tarot. Like, you know, you can get into this and you can make up all kinds of stories, but at the end of the day, like given their situation, it's like, yeah, they kind of, I think the King of Magpies represents Evans, honestly. Evans in London, the guy who runs the Blackfriars. Would you draw me? She asked. Trussell propped himself up on an elbow. Are you sure? Yes, it's been a while. This might be the longest I've seen you without a pencil in your hand. So he just so happens to have like art supplies after they were plunged into the river, holding on to nothing but a freaking like, this is crazy to me. Like, didn't everything they own get completely wet when they went into the river holding onto a log? Like, He opened up his sketchbook and flipped past drawings of leaves and moths and branches and rocks. No people, no birds. But Trussell, she said, don't flatter me for once. What do you mean? You always draw the best of me. You show me as beautiful or clever or brave. But I want to see what I truly look like. He looked surprised. I don't add anything. You are beautiful. He tried to hold her gaze for a moment, but he had to look away. Has Chris been drinking? I doubt it. You're watching Hurricane Helen damage videos on Twitter. Oh, yes. I know that's probably affecting Golden Rule TV and others too. I just, sending well wishes to you guys. I see it's like a Cat 3, isn't it? That's going to be fun. I know I'm going to have some extra work coming in with a Cat 3 in Florida. Yeah, we have magpies. I mean, we don't have magpies here specifically in the city, but yeah, we do have them. Magpies get around. Stacy said before. Mina's not American. No, she's not, Cecil. Let's see. Shay blushed as if she'd been the one calling herself a beauty. Try drawing me as if I was an object, a leaf or something. All right, but you need to be doing something so that you look natural. Read the cards for me. She laughed. Now I get to ask whether you're sure. We're hungry and lost and pursued. It might not be the cheeriest of readings. The look he gave her was folded into itself somehow, and a realization hit her. Oh, she thought, he's happy here. This boy, Trussell. Mina's really Margot Robbie. Galahad, Irish, please. I can't read these terrible words. See, I know she can't help herself. This is so funny to think of Trussell being, and that is true. I mean, when you love someone, the most miserable of experiences can be, quite happy, when there's love there. Oh, Trussell, you sweet boy. Will our beloved heroine fall in love with Trussell now that he's rescued her and shown her this great respect and tenderness? Or will she friend zone him? Oh. She dealt the traveler's hand, a card for departure, a card for arrival, a card for the weather, and a card for companions. Despite herself, she couldn't help trying to find the truth in the patterns. The Fool is the arrival, good sign or ill. The Fool is the arrival. Okay. Open-hearted, but danger afoot. What did that ace of magpies mean when it was reversed? Maybe not getting what you wanted. Maybe something costing. I don't know. Done, said Trussell. She'd only dealt the one hand. That was quick. He handed her the sketch, and she tried to see herself as a stranger might. Plain, certainly. Small features, almost like a child's. Too dark to be English, but too pale to be exotic. It was a face one might grow into. It bore small marks of exasperation. There was a furrowed wake between her eyebrows and a jut of lower lip. Boy or girl? Nothing definite, with the hair short and the mouth unremarkable. Though Trussell had drawn her leaning over the cards in a way that looked motherly. It was as if her body simply hadn't made up its mind yet. A small, unremarkable youth with a frown and short black hair. "I'm sorry," said Trussell. She couldn't see why. All she needed was to be this girl, plain like snow, clear like water. He smoothed out the paper. "I didn't mean to make you look so beautiful." He's gonna be trying to get into this girl, you know. Hello, Jean Siri. Welcome. You ain't going outside. You ain't going into the hallway. And I'm wrapping it up. I'm gonna read through this chapter and I'm gonna wrap it up. So get over yourself. Dang, why you yelling at me, boy? Yeah, you didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. You just want me to get off of here and go to bed. I know. I'll be done soon, I promise. I'm just gonna finish this chapter. It's just a couple more pages. Just a couple more pages. Yeah, just a couple more pages. Good night, Chris. Nero is an egg timer. He, in many ways, yes. The trees thinned around Hertford, where swatches of land had been enclosed and fenced. Bare fields appeared to their left and right, and Trussell was all for turning back and finding a more concealed route. But Shay could only think of the straightest line back to London. She wanted to lose herself in its crowds. They walked 2 miles across open ground, and the Divana flew doggedly above them. Where was I? Excuse me. Low enough that Shay could see the crook of a broken wing. She looked weaker than yesterday, and would be weaker still tomorrow. Shay worried that Divana couldn't hunt in this state. She rummaged in her bag for something to feed her with, and when she looked up, Trussell was notching an arrow into his bow. No! It was lit and pulled back in a moment. He had tears in his eyes. "Trussell, please, no!" The arrow spiraled to the right of the bird, spitting sparks, and Divana banked left. Her labored wing beats couldn't clear the line of hedges, though, and she wheeled around, looking for another way out. His hands were shaking. "There's nowhere to hide. Send her away. Shay, I don't want to do this." "I told you not. No, what the hell? What's wrong with you? Hey! You acting up for no reason. What, you pissed or something? What's wrong with you? No, hell no. Hell no. What you doing? What are you saying? You mad at me or something? What you talking about? You crazy. Don't look over there. You look at me. Hey. You see what I got put up with? I know I can't find the freaking cord thing. Like I cleaned so I thought it was buried under stuff on my couch. I cleaned all that off. No. And then I looked in this like box that was over there through all this stuff. No. I have no idea where it is. It's not in the, like, I'm at a loss. I'm kind of like, I'm gonna smack him. He only gets smacks right on his butt when he's only sometimes he get little smacks, but no, he not gonna get no smacks. Mama not gonna smack you, is she? You wanna get smacked? The chat's saying I should smack you. You want smacked? Huh? What do you think? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm ticked off about it, honestly, because, your cat's laying on you. Oh, you have a cat, Harmony? I didn't know you had a cat. Cat gang. John Siri in the chat too. He's got a cat as well. Come on, baby. Come, what you doing? Who else got a cat? Who else has a cat in chat? Press 1 if you're in the chat and you got a cat. You have 2 cats? Awesome. I had 2 cats at one point. Nero didn't like it though, so we rehomed the other one. She passed away actually this past year. The people who took her in let me know. Fredweena. Yeah, pat him like a horse, exactly. Yep, you know what I'm talking about. You smack him in that butt. Am I rhyming? Not intentionally. I'm rapping. Nero made it look like an accident. No, not my baby. Oh, I'm sorry, Zenny. Rest in peace to Zenny's cat. Cats are fine and women with them. They nice. I know. Cats make life more rich. I don't know. I mean, animals do in general, but I love me, my cat. I mean, he's my cat, you know? He's cool. He puts up with me. She ran out into the field, yelling and waving her hands, but Devana circled back towards her. She batted at the air as the falcon came to land, and Devana veered away again. She made a cumbersome low circle and then headed back towards them. Trestle drew his bow back again, and Shay threw herself across the grass. She slammed into his shoulder, and as he released the arrow, it flew to the bird's right again, but closer, and Devana tumbled, wing over wing, towards a strand of trees. Toward a stand of trees. Sparks bloomed around her head, and she flew low to the ground until a wingtip caught on a branch, sending her tumbling again. God, poor Giovanna, with a broken wing. This poor girl. Shay beat her hands on Trestle's chest as if the bird righted herself and aimed for a gap between the fences. He held her against his body until Giovanna was out of sight, while he said over and over, "Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me." A silent day after that. They strayed further from the road as the traffic into London increased. Trestle spoke to the back of Shay's head. "We should stop here, walk the last miles when it's dark. That way we can arrive as the gate opens. Less chance of being spotted." She made no sign of having heard, but when a thick coppice appeared off to their right, she led them that way. They camped by a stream in a bowl of trees and lay separately, looking up through the canopy. Shay saw hawks and a buzzard, but no Devana. God, poor Devana. Is Devana gonna die, y'all? They lay back to back and dozed, and then there was a noise, gentle like a door opening, and a stag stood before them. Could the stag be the king of magpies? Oh, cool. You had a rabbit? I've never had a rabbit. I've heard they're very sweet. Well, Galahad, I have no problem serving an animal, especially a kitty. I'm honored to be of service to my kitty. I mean, what could I do for him that isn't, that doesn't pale in comparison for what he does for me? His nostrils read the air, and froth steamed at the corners of his mouth. He'd been running hard at some point, but now his quiet was absolute. The wood pigeons made more noise than him. Something moved in the trees behind him, and his ears rotated, And then without warning he leapt the stream, leapt over Shay and Trussell, and was swallowed by trees before they had even time to return. Idiots. The voice came from behind the line of trees. One by one, 6 archers on horseback stepped out into the clearing. They eyed Shay and Trussell. Trussell and Shay looked back. Useless idiots. 1 stag versus 6 archers, and you didn't even wing it. Evans's horse was a massive, placid thing with a black coat and a white blaze. He pulled on the reins and looked down at Shay and Trussell. Damn, I'm good, he said. Evans. Didn't I say that king of magpies was Evans? Buster the Rabbit, oh my. He does do things for me. I was having nightmares last night, and when I woke up, guess who was snuggled up next to me, real tight and like purring. He was protecting me. I mean, they weren't really nightmares, but it was kind of spooky. I was in like my old haunted house that I'd lived in, that I'd mentioned, you know, the one with all the like really intense activity. And I was in there, and I was like, me and a couple other people were in the house, and we were kind of, I don't know, like, I want to say performing an exorcism, but like we just kept repeating, we kept like casting like the spirits out in the name of Jesus, basically. And then I didn't see the other people that were in the house doing the work through most of the dream. I was on my own in like the dark in the upstairs. But then this woman, she came up from the downstairs and she started like cleaning the windows. And then I woke up. And then I woke up and he was right there, like all snuggled up close to me, and I was just like, so I felt very like protected. And yeah, anytime I've had like bad dreams or that kind of thing, or just, you know, disturbing things like that, he's been close to me. Or whenever I've like cried or been distressed, he's like on it, you know. I don't cry like I used to, you know, but there was a time when I was really going through it, some years ago, and he like was always like trying to calm me down, comfort me. He is very sweet that way. And he's just, you know, he doesn't let me sleep in, you know. There's so much that a cat does, you know. They add so much life to your home. I mean, it's hard to even like put into words. It was intense, but I'm glad. I don't know. It was kind of good too. Like I woke up, and then I like Nero was there purring beside me, like very comforting. And then I went into prayer, and it was, you know. And then my alarm went off, and then I got up. Not making the cat my god. What are you talking about? It's not idolatry. Y'all are insane. Making the cat my god. He's not. He's just a friend and companion, you know? So it's and you know what? I'm done. Done talking about it. If either you get it or you don't. His hair was plastered flat across his skull to hide an eye that sagged like a saddlebag. Shay recognized the change in him. She'd seen it in her father. The tide was coming in after 40 years of going out. He patted his horse on the head and spoke lovingly into its ear. I told them, but no one listened. I said Trussell will come in from the west because Ludgate is the closest gate to Blackfriars. I said they'll be near the road but not actually on it. And I said that if we take a hunting party, then no one will guess who we're really looking for. He shook his head. I'm right again, and nobody who counts is here to see it. He shook his head in wonder. Cat got your tongues? Sorry, Sparrow. That's probably a sore point. Nausea hit her. They were only miles from London. Already a haze rose to their east. You've been looking for us? Me and half the country. God might see when any single sparrow falls to earth, but that Jagger fellow wouldn't be far behind. And I bet you regret suggesting those Black Swift troops to the Queen. Don't they give you the willies? They do me, too. They do me. Too quiet, too thick. His lip drooped on one side, but his voice was certain. You, my little one, are transformed from a sparrow into a golden goose, and I am here to sell the eggs. The only question is to whom. The Jagger will offer more in the way of hard cash, but the Queen would be more grateful. We have money, Trussell spoke for the first time. Evans kept his eyes on Shay. No, you don't, boy. Trussell opened his purse. 30 half angels. Evans said, That's not money, Trussell. Not where this prize is concerned. That's loose change. Shush now. The adults are talking. Take me to the Queen, said Shay. Evans looked at her with his counting house eyes. Are you certain, little one? She's not sure about you, I'm afraid. I'll vouch for you, but I'd still give 3 to 1 on your ending up on the gibbet. Why did everyone take Shay more seriously than she did herself? She can't be worried about me, surely. She worries about everyone. That's power's burden. Everyone is a threat, especially a beautiful young girl who's been living with rebels and reputedly now has an army of birds at her beck and call. I guarantee you that there are several meetings going on right now about exactly what to do about you. I'm beautiful now, am I? The thin smile wiped years from him. As I've always said, you're not to my taste, but you've made the most of what you've got. You're not to my taste, but you've made the most of what you've got. Now that's a nice compliment, isn't it? It isn't what you look like, it's that you make the most of it. Right, ladies? He shuffled round. Hair a bit longer. Good. The girl's clothes help. Let's see those nails. Shay held out her hands while she made familiar calculations, the number of men, the speed of their horses, what was wanted from her. But something new was alight within her, too, the voice of feathers and wind that whispered, one either hunts or is hunted. There are no bystanders. I'll be at Birdland tomorrow at dusk. Tell her that I'll read the murmuration for her. Evans clapped his hands together in delight. Is that an ultimatum? An ultimatum for our sovereign. How fierce. Allow me to counter-offer. I throw you in a sack and dump you at the Queen's feet. Shay would never let herself be caged again. Do that, and I'll foretell you that you will overthrow her. He beamed. So it's a negotiation. It's been ages. He walked his horse around them. Then I'll simply sell you back to the Jagger. Shay didn't pause. I'll tell him that my price for singing again will be the burning of all your lands, in the country, in London, wherever. He'd do it with pleasure. Evan's eyes sat deep in his skull, embers with a cold night ahead. How complicated. It might be safer to kill you both. 30 half angels is less than I expected, but it's not nothing. He tipped his hat at Trussell. She saw him, saw right through him. It's certainly the safest option, but where's the drama in that? She turned and walked towards the main road. Birdland at dusk. She waited for the arrows in her back. The road was further than she thought. Evans barked something at his men and then trotted his horse to catch up with her. All right, I'll tell the Queen. but I'd better make it sound like my suggestion. Contrition, Shay. That's all she wants. Good news and contrition. Shay kept her eyes focused on the road. As she stepped onto the track, Evans called out again. And Trussell stays here with me, just until I'm sure that you've been as complimentary as I deserve. London was a haze of smoke on the horizon. Birds rode the thermals. Shay didn't look back. Whew, okay, we're gonna stop there, you guys. Let's see. We're at chapter 40. We've got 6 more chapters to get through. Okay. I think we'll get through it this week. And if we're lucky, we'll get through it within the next stream. Man. So she's walked free from this encounter with Evans and told him that she's going to Birdland to read the Murmuration. And he's taken Trussell. How's she going to get to Birdland? Like, where, like, she used to have to get to Birdland by boat. So I'm like thinking, she's on her own. She's been traveling all this time. Can she just walk to Birdland from where she is? And if so, why didn't she stop there along the way? Like, I don't know. Or is Birdland further on? How thick is the book? How thick is the book? It's about 400 pages. We're on page 352 or 354. I know, the chat is like been crazy tonight, and I've tried to not be distracted by it too much. Well, I'm sorry you don't like the book, Mina, but you know, you gotta get me better books. Go to hell, all of you. Rude. Samuel likes it. Other people have liked the book. I liked it. It was, you know, I've been liking it. Who knows? Maybe other fans of Suede who, for whatever reason, haven't gotten the book or, you know, whatever, will find these videos and listen to them and enjoy the book. And other people who don't comment at all maybe will enjoy hearing the story. The hero is evil. The book, she's not I mean, she's just a victim of circumstance, like many. I mean, all people are evil, really. Well, okay. And I mean, I remind you that you guys don't have to be here in my chat listening to me read this. You know, you could go do something else. Am I right or am I right? Oh, I'm right. That's right. Rude. So rude. I'm offended. You know, Matt Osman is probably watching this, hurt by your comments. I'm not reading Les Miserables. Oh, God. You know how long it's going to take me to get through Les Miserables? Hell no. Mm-mm. Yeah, no, we're not reading that. Besides, you can get an audiobook of that anywhere. Like, I'm not interested in doing that. I have many other books, in home that I can read. I mean, we're gonna go. That's right. Thank you, Seesaw. Matt is spelled with one T, okay? It's, Matt with one T. But yeah. No, Zenny. Will I do any classics? No, I doubt it. I thought about reading Capital, but I'm like, that's going to take forever, and I'm going to get bored reading it out loud and like talking about it with people, honestly. And I'm not even. I don't want to. I've been through it once before. I'm not going to do it again. Oh, I don't want to read. I'm not very keen on reading like novels very much, you guys. Novels aren't really like the fact that I'm reading this novel is rare. I'm not into reading novels. I'll probably read some philosophy next. You know, we might read some Aristotle. I don't know, Freud maybe. What is this book I have here too? I have a book here I've been meaning to read. The Birth of Tragedy by Nietzsche. I haven't read that. We could read that. It's kind of a smaller book. That one might be fun to discuss. So yeah, I'll be more into. You like when I read Proverbs? That's nice. You're reading a Catherine the Great bio. Yeah, Catherine the Great's a pretty interesting figure. Ruthless woman. Ruthless, cunning, and like really badass. Lad, she gonna read more Jewish books. Oh yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know if I were in Diddy's position with like the money and fame that I would be have the same temptations that he had. You know what I mean? But I get what JLP is saying, when he talks about that, because people really do get too much excitement from like talking about and like gossiping about, this deranged stuff. And really it's all evil. The excitement and thrill people get out of it is evil. The also the propagation of a lot of rumors like that aren't even verified, just like these little juicy details coming out and people get like tantalized by it, and then or like whispers about like, oh, he did this to Usher, he did this to Justin Bieber, and like really you don't really know what happened or went on. You're just, making rumors and like spreading things around that you don't even really know are true and they're not even verified. It's rude. I mean, I've only read one book by Carl Jung. I haven't read any Rudolf Steiner. I read, what was it I read? I think it was called The Examined Self. I didn't like his writing style very much, or his like anti-communism. The Fifth Gospel, it sounds interesting. Yeah, not everybody. I mean, the higher you are up in the world, the more money you have, the more evil there is, the more evil you can do. But obviously, not every person in that position is evil. You can do a lot of good with that as well. But I mean, it's the same evil spirit that drives those people as that drives, the common people to do evil things. And common people are just as wicked and do all kinds of depraved things. I mean, your average, like PDF, for example, is a common person, and how many like lives do they impact, and how many people do they hurt? I mean, on average, it's a lot. So, I mean, I agree too, Zenny. You can do a lot of good with money. I'm about that life. I'd rather have no money problems than no money problems. Straight up. Like, it's, make the more money you make, the more good you can do, you know? And that, yeah, I don't really go in for that, like, attitude that money is evil. I mean, it's foolish. You need money to do things. You need money to keep churches open. You need money to like donate to people who are doing good works. You need money to like keep yourself going, even like to help others when the time comes. Like, you do a lot of good, and you should try to make as much money as you can. But anyway, it's been a nice evening. I am up a bit late. I did have coffee a bit late today. Had a latte, but I do need to kind of get myself to bed. And thank you all for being here. It's been fun. Thanks for keeping the chat going, and listening to my reading of this fabulous story by the fabulously charming, handsome, and talented Matt Osman, who, is watching and is hurt by some of your comments. Okay, good night, y'all. I'll see you. I'm sure I'll see some of you in chat tomorrow. Possibly. All right, good night.